Oh no.
SofM is obviously going to lock the Olaf immediately, and he's going to say, all right, Quay, you think that it was the Udyr pick, do you? Well, I'm going to play the other side of this matchup, and I'm going to show you that this isn't a champion difference. This is a player difference. SofM throws down the gauntlet.
Why did they not take the Kaisa? Like, they set up so well for it. I mean, Kaisa is the
Kramer
premier
wants
AD
to
carry
play
on this match.
Xayah.
Yeah.
Kramer doesn't want to play a playmaking AD carry. He wants to play an AD carry that he can farm for 20 minutes and scale up with. And, well, you can do that on Kaisa. Xayah is definitely the optimum pick in that scenario.
Yeah, and she does do okay in towards the Kaisa as well, where she has an advantage in lane, she can push, it's all pretty nice, but I still would have preferred to see the Kaisa first pick. Now, I imagine they're going to pick a strong support to go alongside this. I mean, something like the Alistar or even the Rell potentially here to go up against it, but it looks like LGD are going to stick back towards peace on this Gragas. They just want to go towards this this kind of poke / sustain bot lane for the Gragas and the Xayah.
Yep, gonna stick with Gragas, although it could still be Gragas up to the top side. It is that flex pick available for them, but Rell comes through for On. And that's an aggressive bottom lane right there. That's a lot of all-in potential locked in for Suning. And SofM, if he wanted, could play through that bottom side even, which I don't really expect based on that interview we saw, based on what happened in game number 1. But the option is there, and Olaf does love to go for those dragons.
Yeah, and if we end up seeing this bottom lane matchup in a vacuum, I actually give the edge over towards Kramer and Peace. The thing about Rell is something that can interrupt her crash down is always going to be in a really good spot, and Gragas is perfect with that, with the belly bop, has a lot of poke as well, and can play from range, so Rell isn't able to heal off her own Q. So you've got a lot of nice answers, especially if you do manage to cancel the crash down, having the cast then to send Rell in underneath the turret or back into your team while she's vulnerable off of her steed can really set you up for success here. So I like the bot lane that LGD have. I just want to see how they're going to play around it to a certain extent.
Well, Ornn's been banned, as has Aatrox, so trying to remove some of these top lane champions. Syndra taken away from Uniboy, that's 2 bans towards him now. And you could even imagine Angel locking into Orianna next, so it could get a little dicey on what Uniboy has available to lock in for that mid lane matchup.
I'm also curious about this top lane, to be perfectly honest. Like, we're getting rid of Ornn, Aatrox, Renekton, Camille, Gnar. Like, that's pretty much all of our top 5 picks gone. You're now looking into, like, Jaces and these kind of things that are up there. But
oh no,
oh
we're gonna
God.
go LEC.
No, don't do it. But
not like
actually,
this.
Well,
all right.
The Akali's still open. Flex pick going towards both Bin and Angel. At least keeps that flexibility for Suning on that red side final pick. So we'll have to see if they do decide to go towards that, but they're actually just going to go back towards the Orianna. I do like this, especially strong blind. Not going to be a huge amount that can go up against it. Maybe you can look towards something like a Viktor here for Uniboy, but I certainly like Uniboy when he's able to have more of an impact, so could go back towards something like the Galio or the Twisted Fate you mentioned in game 1, but it is going to be the Viktor in towards this mid lane and just look to farm it up and be an impact in the later part of the game.
Yeah, Alistar likely to come through alongside it, which would put the Gragas up towards the top side of the map. But as you mentioned, the interrupt on the crash down is the really key thing about that bottom lane, and Alistar certainly pretty good at interrupting people. He's very rude, very low manners cow, so lots of interrupts.
just talks over you all the time, and then just, you know, well, it's actually true because he just keeps roaring in lane all the time and gets that heal off. So I mean, technically you're right, but hey, I like it. It does very well against the Rell as we were talking about, and again, disrupting that lane, but also setting up really nicely against something like the Kaisa too. The ability to have that Hex Flash to constantly threaten from the bush on towards the low range Kaisa is something that can do really, really well. I'm looking to see what Suning are going to round out the composition though, because we already said, hey look, there's a lot of those top picks that are gone, but Bin goes back to El Clasico, his Gangplank in the top lane.
You know, I nearly talked about this earlier on, but I was like, I don't know, it's a long shot. We'll see if it happens. I was thinking it would be against a Renekton or a Gnar. They've both been banned, so I've not talked about it. But Bin loves this Gangplank. He's taken it out against the Gragas here. He's an exceptional Gangplank player. And it does also suggest that maybe SofM will play towards the bottom side rather than that top side, because Gangplank, generally speaking, likes to be on the opposite side of the map to the action.
Definitely, and for SofM, you do have a pretty strong bot lane, at least, that you can try and play towards those early dragons and try to play around. So there is options here for both junglers to actually play pretty heavily towards this bottom side. And again, when you're Udyr versus Olaf, quite similar champions in clear speed, how they want to enact pressure on the map, and needing really setup from their laners to try and get in and get themselves up and rolling, and a lot of pressure towards dragons as well. So I think we will see a lot more attention down towards this bottom side with those two weak side top laners locked in. It'll be more a case of what happens when we get to these team fights, because honestly, if I'm talking front to back team fights and both teams get to a mid game where they're even, I much prefer LGD's comp. It's just so much easier to enact and make sure that's working. Whereas for Suning, it's much more about the zone control that you offer with the Gangplank ultimates, with the Orianna ball, and trying to play around on being the primary engage tool, and honestly the only real engage tool for Suning.
Yeah, a lot of pressure on here to be the guy that can jump on in forwards, but reasonable amount of slows coming out with Cannon Barrage there to try and set up for SofM to literally just run in. And if last game is anything to go off of, SofM is not afraid to literally just run in. I really want to see the battle for the Scuttle Crabs. Colt is actually going Comet on this Gragas as well. He really wants to win that lane phase against Bin. But yeah, we saw the battle for that Scuttle Crab towards the start was one of the most important parts of the game and kind of snowballed for Suning. I want to see LGD try and do a better job of that this time around.
I'm actually a little bit worried seeing the Comet, because I'm not a fan of AP Gragas with the composition that LGD have drafted. I much prefer having a strong front-to-back team fight where you can scale into the late game with your Viktor and your Xayah, hit those 3 items, and just be monstrous in these fights. Like, you can burst through pretty much anyone on Suning. But if we actually see him going towards this AP build, trying to buy space and buy... Actually, yeah, with the runes, he's going to be going AP. I'm not a big fan of this. I much prefer the tank-orientated Gragas in this scenario.
Hang on a second. This is a 4v3 though. Dagda and Suning have been spotted. They don't know that a ward is here. They've started the red buff, and now they've been triple pulverized by Peace. Beautifully done here. And SofM just going to try and sprint out. He's got a ghost. He actually gets out with his life here. Suning, I don't know how they always get away with it, but that is going to be at the cost of 4 summoner spells.
And a big win for LGD. Like, SofM is now going to be put onto the back foot. Quay is going to have a wondrous time clearing through his jungle as well, and should be able to just be in a much better position when we get towards these scuttles in just a few moments. I love the read from LGD though. We just said, hey, there's probably going to be a lot of tension bot side, so Suning tried to go for a split map play, go for that late invade, but they get red and they get punished for it.
That blue buff is getting real close for SofM here. Peace forcing the level 2 play on. Gets his shield though and dashes out. SofM will be able to survive in that jungle. It goes W second, so he gets a bit of sustain and the Gromp will heal him up. So he will be able to continue the clear. It's lucky he's playing Olaf, so he can just go and clear off the back of all of those shenanigans. I am a little curious if SofM can catch up to Quay a little bit, because Olaf is real quick at clearing the jungle early.
Yeah, I mean, the lower your health, the faster you attack, the more life speed you get. Like, it all kind of synchronizes really, really well. So it looks like he'll be reasonably okay, but still going to be kind of low. Although with that...
He's starting 4th camp at the same time. That's kind of insane.
And the big thing here in that top side is Bin has the push, but might actually get cut off as... You see, just cut, moving over, but not wanting to give up that wave. And looks like with Bin having full control, Quay won't be able to get this topside scuttle.
That's the interrupt we talked about before, where Peace just stops on getting in. A bit of damage coming out from Kramer. I've got a quick joke for you here, Dagda.
Yeah?
It's a knock-knock joke. Knock-knock.
Okay, who's there?
Interrupting cow.
Interrupting cow who?
Moo. There you go. That's Peace's entire laning phase in a nutshell, basically. He just wants to interrupt the Rell. There you go. That's... I'm here all week, folks.
Back to double scuttle, where Quay is trying to fight over the scuttle for SofM before Joe loses his job for terrible jokes.
if they fire me for that, then I've said worse things on broadcast, I'm not going to lie. If I lose my job for that one, it was absolutely not worth it.
Yeah, but this one's personal.
Well, we didn't get any double skull. We saw SofM get the top one, get to see Quay get the bottom one. So we're actually even, or relatively even, in the jungle, despite the shenanigans at the start of the game. But SofM did not clear his top couple of camps, didn't clear red, didn't clear crooks.
Yeah.
So now moving towards his bottom side of the map. Maybe he's going to gank bot here. Kramer going to be knocked up as follow-up is there. Huanfeng knocked up as Kramer's very low on HP. The Ignite is taking one more auto to do the trick. SofM misses the undertow, but the snipe from Huanfeng. We already know he's the sniper from his Jhin, and he proves it on the Kaisa as well. Double kill for the young AD carry.
Amazing from Suning on this bottom lane. That snipe from Huanfeng to get the double kill. This Kaisa is rolling, and this is exactly what Suning wanted. If they can get this bottom lane in their favor, these dragons become so much easier to take. You're going to be in a much better spot as SofM because you've got a quadrant of the map that you can look to invade on. It's all coming up clutch for Suning off that play.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie, Dagda. This series feels like Suning just smurfing on LGD. This is...
Yeah.
After how the game started, LGD should be ahead here, but Kramer just gets caught by an easy knockup. They basically won 2v2 before SofM even arrives, and then Huanfeng just threads the needle there. It's too beautiful.
It's gorgeous, but again, it's the issues that we saw with Kramer. Like, his position in lane has not been good. Like, he's walking basically melee range into Rell. Like, Rell is so damn good when she gets on top of you. And if you're going to go that close, well, fantastic. They're just going to go and kill you. So, I don't know. This is an issue that I've had with Kramer for quite a while. And I honestly am starting to think that Kramer was a big issue for LGD last year. It's just that Mark's laning phase, who's actually looked really, really good on BLG, was kind of covering and plastering over all the mistakes that Kramer was making. Now without Mark, we're starting to see that there's a lot more here that Kramer has to work on.
Yeah, we'll talk more about Mark later as well, because he's actually not going to be playing today in the BLG game, but we'll jump into that topic a little bit later on. But yeah, so far so good for Suning. And we mentioned in Champ Select that SofM could play around this bot side with the Olaf pick if he wants to. Apparently the answer was that he definitely wants to. The first strike did go the way of LGD though, just like game number 1. My eyes float towards the Herald that will be spawning in just over a minute though, because that feels like more up Suning's alley based on what we've seen today. Bin could be in trouble though, Dagda.
I don't know if Quay got spotted there though. At least Bin is playing very, very safe. I want to come back to the point that you made just before we got those bot lane shenanigans of... remember we were saying SofM hadn't cleared out that topside jungle? He'd actually gone for a very quick reset, and this is what I love about SofM. Reading, hey look, I need to be on this bottom side to make the play happen. Bin! Oh, nice flash.
Good reactions on that, man. Does get knocked up though. The stun is there. He's eating oranges, so it's K, but he might just go down anyway. No! How does he get away with it? Bin every single time. Pops that corrupting potion, the cannon barrage of the slow, and once again, Captain Jack Sparrow somehow slips away. Quay though wants to punish. Nope. LGD will always remember this is the day that they almost caught Captain Bin Sparrow.
There's so much that's been invested on that top side though. 2 flashes, all this time from Quay, and yeah, you deny a bit of CS and experience from Bin, but that's not your win condition. Cult is not going to win you the game. You need to be interacting on this bot lane, but now in mid.
SofM's just not even aware that Uniboy is attacking him. Just completely blanks him. Didn't even look in his direction as he was just sprinting at Quay. He wants himself this blue buff, and I'm not sure that there's anything LGD can do about it. This is going his way. TP coming through from Cole. Quay's in the brush already. They want Bin real bad. They want a bit of vengeance, but it's peace. It's in trouble on the bottom side of the map. Kramer gets the route onto On. Huanfeng is level 6. Has the killer instinct available, but there's not going to be an opportunity for him to use it just yet. And look at this. SofM is not going to let Quay even do anything in his jungle.
I think he is going to walk away though. looks like, at least with Colts potentially having first move on top and not being 100% as to if he wants to contest with Uniboy having no mana, he will just look towards Rift Herald instead, although he's hanging around.
Yeah, okay, he's going to clear the ward. He doesn't have a mid laner right now. SofM is so confident, yet he doesn't even have a mid laner. Uniboy, I guess, was low in mana in mid lane, so SofM deciding that he's going to be able to go for this Herald anyway.
Yeah, he was just delaying a little bit as On was trying to make his way up. Also, Colts is blowing through a heap of mana in that top side, so he's got a rotation of spells in him, so if a team fight was to kick off and with Uniboy having no mana, he knows he'd be pretty safe anyway, so we'll just start that one up. And I want to go back to like SofM's early jungle path team there. He got that early reset that allowed him to set up for that play on bot lane that now got the 2 kills for Huanfeng. And this is something that SofM has been really good at doing in the past, is understanding where he needs to be positioned, how he can alter his path creatively to set up for success. But bot side, Huanfeng!
Huanfeng has been caught here trying to secure the blue before. Is he the one that's catching? That is the question. Blue goes the way of Quay in the end. So Huanfeng just trades a bunch of damage onto Peace. Didn't even have to use a summoner spell. 2v1 and nearly stole the blue buff away. Now it's On that's going to be stunned, but I don't know. Udyr when SofM has it, really terrifying. Udyr when Quay has it, I'm not so scared, Dagda.
Yeah, I'm not either. It's just not having that same impact. And again, it's because he's been set behind, right? It has gone for that bot lane play, ended up dying. Hasn't been able to keep up with SofM, who stole away the blue on the top side. Does steal away the blue on the bot, but it means that with the poke and prodding that has come through, and Colts not having that TP available, this dragon in a couple of seconds should go the way of Sunni. They're still in good shape, SofM still healthy, and he's got that Rift Herald to try and create pressure mid if they even need to, just to confirm that they can get that dragon.
Colts having a hard time on this top side as well. As you can see, Bin really layering on the pressure. SofM, he's going to visit the bottom side of the map once again. You can see Quay just resetting at his Krugs. SofM is more than happy to just start this one up because he knows that at this point there's no universe where Quay can fight him without going for at least a reset first. So Angel will be able to move on over. Corrupting Potion ticking, so he will at least have some mana to work with. And with the bot lane moving up, the dragon is taken for Sunni. Another objective in their pocket. SofM is going to pay a visit to Uniboy in the mid lane. Instant respect comes up through. He's just going to help Angel reset the wave.
Yeah, exactly. Angel just wants to get that TP back in towards lane, and you really do need that against Viktor. One of the beautiful things about Viktor is that because you've got that W, it's really easy for you to CC the minions and freeze that wave. So if you don't get help from your jungler in that situation and to help out Angel, and there was a pretty big opportunity for Uniboy to freeze that and cause a lot of issues for Angel and a potential gank area for Quay. But honestly, Quay's just had zero impact in this game, and you can see with the flash there, not going towards the ghost, he doesn't have the opportunity to just speed into lanes as quickly with this chem tank, and unfortunately the lanes aren't getting involved with, which means they're falling behind. The jungle isn't going his way either, and now SofM is going to dump a whole bunch of gold in towards Angel in this mid lane. Thanks to the Rift Herald, he's been able to pick up off of all these early shenanigans.
Yeah, SofM basically just says, oh, Uniboy's not in lane. Who haven't I ganked for you? Who haven't I impacted the lane of? Angel, you can have a Rift Herald. Let's slam that mid and give you 160 gold. In the meantime, Bin has picked himself up at Essence Reaver, so those Qs are only going to get scarier as Colt will get an opportunity to shove a wave in. Bin has the teleport available, also has Cannon Barrage. Feels like LGD are trying to make a play. As you can see, Colt moving down towards the mid lane.
I'm actually looking at the Gragas items. I assumed we were going to get the AP Gragas coming in because he didn't have any sort of resolve tree. He'd gone for the inspiration and the sorcery, but instead has opted to still go towards the tank Gragas, and it means that you end up missing out on a lot of like the conditioning or bone plating and these things that can help your survivability at the start of these fights. So Colt, although is going the Gragas tank build, isn't going to be quite as tanky as usual.
Oh, been knocked into the wall instead of just knocked straight back. That means Colt pretty much can't continue the 1v1, unfortunately. He was looking to knock Bin underneath that turret, but it didn't happen. And then the minions blocked the belly pop as well. Oh, Colt knows it's all gone wrong. Here we go, though. Quay wants to try and find an answer. The sweeper comes out. Oh, he's been spotted by the scan. On waits for the knockup before he's going to be able to use the crash down onto everyone. Magnets, baby. They're all pulled on in together. And it's going to be down to Huanfeng to do damage. SofM charging forwards as Quay will be the first casualty. You'd expect, at least. He is pretty tanky as the Udyr. SofM, undertow under tower, flash from Peace.
This does give a lot of space towards Sunny in this bottom lane, though. They could look to pick up this tower, just solidify again this massive lead that Huanfeng already has. Kraken Slayer completed already at the 14-minute mark, and also having the serrated Dirk means he's got his fully evolved Q, and Huanfeng is just primed to take over this game. He said he needs to be the main source of damage. Well, he's in good spot now.
Yeah, he's in a fantastic spot, especially off that first double kill that he managed to get for himself. Now with a third kill in his pocket, he's got a 400 gold bounty. We all know of Huanfeng, this superstar AD carry that took Suning to Worlds and did so much work for them to get them to the final. And when they set him up like this, when he's able to get so many kills early on the most powerful AD carry in the game right now anyway, you already know that this is a really great spot for Suning.
And it's perfect recall timing as well. Now he's able to roam up towards this top side. We'll make sure that they're able to secure the second Rift Herald. They can rotate Bin back to the bot side as well to keep that tower safe and collect that nice big wave. Like, this is perfect rotations from Suning as well, and just how smoothly they are closing these games out, getting this 4,000 gold lead already. It's just really nice to see Suning at least still having the right mindset and the macro to close out these games smooth.
Yeah, you could see on the gold difference as well. Huanfeng is like 2,000 gold ahead individually over Kramer right now, which this early in the game is just insane. Beautifully done there by On to just grab everyone together.
Yeah, and I love the preemptive heal from Huanfeng as well, meaning that On is going to be totally fine to go aggressive. One of the big things about Rell is that... Oh, hang on.
We've got a bit of a fight here. SofM knocked up. We'll use the Ragnarok to keep charging around the fight here. Undertow to slow them down. No re-engage by the looks of things from Suning coming through. They're just going to be quite happy to back away from this one. 20 seconds on this Ocean Drake. And you'd expect Suning to want to fight for this one. But Huanfeng is on the top side of the map right now. So they might just have to trade for a Herald. Or not, because it's not happening by LGD.
No. All right, yeah. Let's all just reset. Let's all back away. Who needs objectives? But it does give Huanfeng time to move back down towards this dragon. So they should be able to get that. Now, you need to trade something here as LGD. You need to get this Rift Tower for yourself if you're going to be giving this dragon over. But the thing is, SofM is soloing that out. They have the push in mid lane, and they're not, like, they are able to keep eyes on this Rift Herald as well. So... for quite, I mean, you're trading a couple of Krugs for this. That's like, it's gonna do nothing for you.
You say Rift Herald, I say Krugs. You say potato, I say potato. You know, yeah, one and the same, Dagda. One and the same. In the jungler's eyes, Krug's pretty valuable. Okay, so yeah, Krug's good, Herald bad is the conclusion to what we're trying to say here. I think that was a good learning point. Moving on before Dagda can reply.
There'll be a test on Friday. Make sure you're all ready.
Yeah. I want to talk about win conditions once more. As we head towards the mid game here, it feels like Suning they've moved out of the lane phase at this point. They're going for the Herald as well as the Dragon. But we talked about earlier that On is basically the only hard engage. When you're running a composition like this, Dagda, how do you force the issue and make sure you're keeping up the pace of the game?
Well, definitely the Rift Heralds and the likes of this are going to do wonders, right? At least for the mid-game portion. It's when you get to the later stages, if LGD are able to turtle down, it can be a little bit difficult to break it. Like, you can have Bin off in the side lane trying to poke down, but Cult can do reasonably well at clearing out those waves, so you can't really match up there. So honestly, what you're trying to rely on is these dragons to draw LGD out of their base and make sure that they're the ones that have to fight you. So at least with 2 dragons picked up for Suning thus far, it buys a little bit of time for LGD, but in 10 minutes time, when that 4th dragon is spawning, or sorry, yeah, the 4th dragon is spawning, that's where you're going to have a lot of issues for LGD as to how they're going to try and fight this.
So play around those drakes, try and set up around the objectives, and basically force LGD to do the engaging for you. Seems like
the big thing as well was that
I didn't mean to interrupt you. Good.
It's all good, but the big thing as well is that when we looked at the team fight that LGD had set up, yeah, we gave them the advantages, saying, look, it's a much easier to execute composition. But from Sunin's side, because they've got this massive Kaisa, just completed her collector as well, you've got this Orianna and also Bin, who are going to be able to provide a bunch of zone control, especially when you have vision control. Trying to move through these chokes into river is going to be really difficult for LGD. So I'm not just able to say, hey, you know, LGD, this is fine, you're going to be okay. The advantages that Sunin had picked up are really going to hurt LGD unless they're able to get into river and find these perfect team fights.
So let's look towards LGD as they charge into the jungle here. Or not into the jungle, just towards the mid lane. Huanfeng is pushed up. Could get caught out, but he does have both of his summoners available. Kramer would love to find himself a Blade Caller, but I doubt that's going to happen at SofM. He's just going to face check it. He's like, oh, yep, no, they are here. Time to back away. Kramer nearly gets 1v1. Kind of barrage came down. Keep your eyes out for the Void Seeker. Okay, no, it's going to be blocked. LGD, they're wise to that trick now after the early laning phase. And Baron's about to spawn Dagda. And you know, it wouldn't surprise me if Suning just brute forced it.
They can take it in exceptionally quickly with the composition that they have, but looks like they're trying to see if they can bait LGD into just trying to get vision in their own jungle. Just, come on, you know you want to know if we're on it. You know you have to push forward if you want to try and get vision of this. I mean, you can see the Scryers, or the blue ward at least, has just popped up for Kramer. So they have one check that they can do on this Baron. But afterwards, when that's gone, Suning can burst through this exceptionally fast.
Yeah, importantly, they do still have vision in the area as well. They've got the Scuttle Crab, and they've got a ward just next to the Scuttle Crab. So LGD, not under any significant pressure of that just yet, but it's definitely something Suning can set up for as Kramer takes a huge hit from Bin. He's not the first AD carry to feel that blast. Void Seeker landed, Huanfeng goes in, flashes out immediately. I don't know about that one, Chief. That seems like a bit of a waste of a flash to me, but who am I to criticize Huanfeng, the great Huanfeng? Colt walks away with his explosive cask. I think Suning are just bored, honestly. I think they're just trying to pull the trigger because they just want to do stuff.
I think Huanfeng's been watching too many Viper montages, because that was definitely a Viper-esque play, but not quite able to pull it off to the same extent. However, it does give Suning control over the bot side jungle, which is really what they wanted here. As we were talking about, like, stacking and racking these dragons is the game plan for Suning right now. So, hey, 30 seconds, let's try and make a play, let's try and force LGD back, and we can actually get vision in this jungle.
Yep, should be able to get mid clear as well from Angel. I will say, despite Orianna's reputation as a mid laner with good wave clear, she actually takes ages to clear minion waves. Like, she's got AoE, but it takes like 7 or 8 casts of her abilities to actually clear the wave. When you compare that to stuff like the Syndra, it's pitiful wave clear in the grand scheme of things. Dragon's up though. It's going to be Suning that should be able to grab this one for free.
Yeah, I mean, they're not even sending the team. They're just keeping pressure over towards this Baron as well. Huanfeng secures that. And they're trying to, again, deny the vision being placed by LGD in this river by just threatening them at all points in time, making sure that even if you end up trying to go for this fight, you can have Huanfeng come over for Killer Instinct. So, again, they're keeping dark for LGD, this river area, which makes it so much easier for them to draw LGD into unfavorable spots, try and catch them out in rotation, or just trying to get vision in their own jungle again.
I have to say, Dagda, this game number 2, much more similar to what my expectation of this series was coming in. Because game number 1, we got a lot of early shenanigans, we got a bit of chaos. It was very, very fun, very amusing. But when you look at the recent games from both of these squads, when you look at how these teams often play, this was much more likely. In that Suning quite happy to play it slow in the early game, find individual lane advantages, and then transition that into team fighting later on. And that's certainly what we're seeing with 3 kills on the clock at 23 minutes. But LGD want to change that fact as they go in here. But On is quite happy to turn it around. Jumps into the middle of everyone. He's real tanky. Flashes out, but he should go down here. Explosive Cast doesn't knock him back. He gets out with his life. Chaos Storm finishes it, though. Huanfeng jumps in, but he can't finish any kills for himself. SofM here. Undertow across the team. Blade Caller finds through onto SofM. In goes Bin with the triple barrel onto Kramer. Bin, he is one of the premium Gangplanks on the entire globe as Uniboy is eradicated. 3 kills, and that's the green light for the Baron for Suning.
I mean, LGD, they get the pick onto the support, but that was never going to end well when you're running through all these close quarters of the jungle. Suning get the fight, they'll get the Baron, and now they can start the push and slowly close out this game. And a dragon as well in 3 minutes, like, the world's your oyster here, Suning.
And man, does Suning love oysters, because they live in Shanghai. There's a lot of seafood here, so it's going to be very nice for their palate. Let's take another look though, because once again, these beautiful engages are they're just perfect.
Yeah, a lot of the tankiness from this Rell actually comes from the shields you get on that crash down. So once that's gone, you do go down fairly quickly, but watch here, you're running through this tight corridors of the jungle. Well, that you're up against Bin, who's on this Gangplank. You got Angel, who's going to be able to get the shockwaves. Like, these are the worst spots for LGD. And even there, it's easy to land all these axes as well. Like, everything on Suning is set up for these close fights. And it means that Suning are able to come out with an advantage, even though they were down a man.
Yep, beautifully done by Suning. And now they get the opportunity to have themselves a little bit of a siege. You can see Bin nowhere near the rest of the team. He's just going to be shoving out that top wave, trying to pressure onto the tier 2. In the meantime, though, Suning 4v5 are quite happy to put some pressure on in the mid lane. They'll be able to grab this tier 2 immediately. And now they can buy a ton of space for Bin to just do whatever he wants on the top side of the map.
Yeah, I mean, you can see it there. Rell for on already rotating up towards that top side, making sure he's able to take this turret. They can then rotate onto the wave that's slowly prepping on that bottom side of the map as well. And from there, fall back towards Dragon. I mean, you're pretty much perfectly aligned with the Baron timer and that Dragon timer. Although, it looks like they may not just opt for the outside turrets. They want to go for the inhibitors.
I want to push for more right here. Still a minute on the Baron, so they've got time to do it. They certainly have a composition that can make this happen. And when you've got Bin pushing in the top side as well, why not use and abuse this Baron buff for as much as you can? Now Ping's going towards that bottom lane wave as they're going to set up a 1-3-1. Angel separates from the team and they can pressure every single side of the map.
Ooh, Peace. Trying to see if he can get in here.
Yeah, Peace has gone in for the knock-up here on Crash Downs out of the play. And now Angel comes on in. Flashes forward for the QW, looking for a shockwave onto the team, but he's knocked back himself. Has to go to Zhonya as well. SofM finds the 1v1 between the junglers. Colt doesn't have the damage to finish anyone off. And Suning might actually be able to end the game here if they can finish off a couple more kills. Huanfeng was looking for more. Has the killer instinct, but the Void Seeker doesn't quite connect. They can still press in, though. Recall's going to come through. They're just going to clear the wave, shove this underneath the tower, and head back to base.
Yeah, they're playing it by the book. 15 seconds until this Ocean Soul is up. Spend the gold. And if you even try to contest as LGD, I mean, look at the items. Your 3 items pretty much across the board for Suning completed right now, where you're struggling in a lot of situations to get to that second one on LGD. So honestly, from this point forward, Suning, they'll just be able to clap them. There's no way LGD can try and contest this. They're going to try for some miracle steal, but that's it. That's all you've got here.
Oh, get your cheeks ready, LGD, because Dagda reckons a clapping is about to happen. Colt jumps over the wall to try and engage this fight. SofM onto the Dragon. Colt stepping on forwards as he tries to make it happen, but the Ocean Soul is there. Shockwave comes on in. Huanfeng flies into the fray. He's 1v4 on the backline, but he's got an Ocean Soul. That's not enough. And it's Peace that grabs 1,000 gold shutdown on the Alistar. It's not what you want to see. And now SofM is like, oh, Huanfeng wants a 1v4. I want a 1v4. Runs into the back of the team by himself, knocked away from Kramer, but he brings down his lance. He wants to joust with Kramer, and Kramer ain't winning that one out. Quay now trying to run away as we've got on, I think, chasing for the 1v1 onto Peace. Support on combat once more as Peace desperately tries to run through the jungle. This is going to be Suning's game, and a stylish way to end it out as well.
Yeah, I mean, that's what you like to see. Yeah.
They know it's over.
Oh.
They think it's all over. It is now, Dagda. And they're just going to chase each other around the jungle.
At least they're having a good humor about it. However, Uniboy has cleared out the wave, so... I mean, I don't know if Suning can end.
Surely. They're just holding hands as they roam around the map together.
And look at the smile
horsey
on
and the
On.
cow.
He's made a friend. Smile. Look at the smile on On's face. He knows. It's going
Peace
great,
though.
but-
Peace is communicating right now. He's in try hard mode. He's trying to figure out the best way to play this. It's not worked out, but hey,
No.
It was fun while it lasted.
It was. And again, denying that easy reset coming through from Peace. So he's going to be laid onto the map. Now, there's nothing really on the map that you can go for Asuning right now, but at least they can go back, spend their gold. You've got a single Nexus tower that's holding you back. There's 2 inhibitor towers that are looking pretty juicy here as well. Baron in 40 seconds. You have your pick of the litter here. Asuning. And again, you can see how LGD from that last fight are struggling. Even if they manage to pick off Huanfeng, they can't kill SofM. Gore Drinker, Sterix Gauge, Ocean Soul. This Olaf is unkillable right now.
It's so rough. And you can see the difference in the two teams. Everyone on the side of Suning has been giggling away, but it's just moved over to Cult, and he seems like he's actually having a good time. Bin, however, seems stoic. So aside from the top laners, the atmospheres are different in the teams.
Bin always does.
Yeah, Kramer. Bin's in the zone. Kramer looked like he's a bit sick of this game, and LGD knows that Suning are just waiting for the correct opportunity to actually be able to end the game.
I always laugh though at Angel because like last 2 series Angel has ended up as
hang
a
on.
pseudo support.
On that was not the play. He gets away. The shield comes through at the last second. SofM now gets to charge in with this kind of barrage. Bin is here as well. Kramer has to jump away to dodge away from the damage from Bin. That is not fair. Not even Xayah can survive that one. Huanfeng with Killer Instinct. Wait for the correct opportunity. The opportunity is now, though. Uniboy trying to escape, but there's nothing you can do to run away from this one. SofM trying to chase down Quay. The battle from the junglers, but he can't go onto the fountain. That is now gonna be game. Suning take the 2-0 in a hilarious series between Suning and LGD. What a way for that one to end, and what a way to start our day here, Dagda.
I mean, look, could you think of a better way? But honestly, I like. I don't know what happened. LG, I'm just like, LGD, come on. Just give me something. It feels bad to say, but I really wanted to see what they could do. When I saw at the get-go, when they had Garvey filling into that AD carry role, that, hey, we're starting to see some cool, interesting pathing from Quay. Cult is getting these counter picks and looking pretty good on the top side. Uniboy looks good as well. I was like, when Kramer comes back in, this is going to go swell. It has not gone swell since Kramer came back into the roster, and Suning pretty much manhandled them in this game. And I had to laugh at Angel's scoreline at the end of that as well, because in their series against OMG, he finished 0-0-12 on Kassadin, and now in this last game, he ended 0-0-14 on Orianna. He's just like, God, he either gets a pentakill, or he just doesn't get a kill.
Yeah, he just plays the support in the mid lane. Yeah, I mean, back to your point on LGD as well. I feel like, to quote you directly, you're basically saying they need to sub Garvey back in. Am I correct in quoting you for that exactly? Dagda 2021. Subbing Garvey, he's better than Kramer.
Put it onto coach quotes on Twitter. Put it onto everything just that's what we need. Just, put Garvey back in. But no, it's
gonna be posted on Uber Facts in a minute,
Look, there's just so many issues with this bottom lane, and Kramer's positioning in lane, we saw it again come back to bite them on that first kill that Suning got, where even if you didn't have SofM coming down, he was still dead because he just walks into melee range of this Rell. I'm just baffled by the bottom lane of LGD in a lot of situations, especially someone like Kramer who's got a heap of veterancy to lean on. But then for the rest of the squad as well, I think there was glimpses of what this team could be, and unfortunately those glimpses have very quickly gone. And I'm hoping that over the course of the split and even over the course of summer, we can see a lot of these rookies stand up like Quay and start to see them come back in. But unfortunately for them, LGD, this isn't working.
Yeah, and the battle for the bottom of the table is really heating up between LGD, OMG, Rogue Warriors down there as well. It's getting intense, the competition. Suning, however, looking fantastic. Another perfect gold graph. One thing that we will say about Suning, whether they are the most chaotic team in the LPL or not, they are controlled. They do not throw away their leads, generally speaking. aside from when Huanfeng randomly gets bored partway through the game, but he got away with it this time, so we're going to pretend it didn't happen. Results-based analysis, everyone. But yeah, it's been nice, controlled gameplay here in Game 2.
Definitely, and I think that's the takeaway that I have from both these series is, look, SofM is having some really big impacts in the early stages. I tried to highlight it, but we ended up with a lot of action that was happening where SofM, off of that first reset that he had, avoided going towards his red, avoided going towards the Krugs, and when you're playing a farming jungler, that seems to be the current meta, it very much is about, making sure you're hitting these camps on respawn. But by foregoing them, resetting and running straight down towards this bot lane, he ends up setting his bot lane up for success, gets the 2 kills, and now the bot lane is rolling. And Quay isn't actually in a position to go and try and answer for them, which is actually what SofM did in Game 1. So I think overall, I'm liking what I'm seeing from SofM specifically, having a bit more impact in the early game, willing to forego just the farming style to set up his laners and actually get these advantages going for Sunny.
I mean, my favorite thing that we saw from SofM is just the picks, right? We get to see the Udyr versus Olaf matchup in game number 1. Game number 2, the enemy locks in Udyr. He's like, bring it on. Bring it on. You cannot scare me. I'm happy to play either side of this coin. And I mean, winning out the matchup pretty comfortably on both games. So really nicely done by him. And also the bottom lane. I think On is a player that we need to highlight because his Rell looking fantastic. His engages in these fights really, really beautiful, setting up for the rest of the team. And On has been one of the players that has been criticized a reasonable amount on Suning when it comes to the losses that they've had recently. So it's good to see him feeling good in these games.
Definitely, and especially when he has to be the main engage tool, I was a little bit worried about it because I've been pretty vocal of On being a bit of a thorn for Huanfeng and for Sunny in general in that bottom side of the map. And when I saw the Rell pick, I was like, okay, he has to be the main engage tool, but certainly have to find those moments now. LGD, a team that made it a little bit easier for him, I will say, as we talked about, like Kramer walking into face first in that bottom lane, sets him up for success pretty handily. And then even in those later stage team fights, LGD were still the ones that were trying to engage, not really trying to avoid and trying to buy some space for themselves. So I think On had a bit of an easier time, but certainly if he continues to have these performances against some of the better teams, I'll be excited to say, hey, look, On is reformed. He's really starting to improve.
Reformed is an interesting word to use because it's got a very different meaning in League of Legends to what it actually has in the real world. Yeah, definitely looking good though from On and looking good from the whole squad from Suning. Once again, to just reiterate the kind of impact of this series, Suning are now on a 2-series win streak, but the opponents are OMG and LGD, so I don't want to like overhype Suning right now. And we're obviously complimenting this team. They have looked really good today. I want to see if they can transition that into their matches against tougher opponents. I'm going to double check who their next opponent is because
if Suning, EDG, it's EDG, JDG, and IG. That's why this is why I've been saying is that they need to come off the bat here. Like they need to make sure that they're in comfortable spots because if they are going into these series and they look shaky today, I had no hope for them against EDG, but definitely seeing them looking a little bit better. And I want to echo your point that you were saying that prior to this, Suning have really been struggling. Like before their series against OMG, they had a lead at 15 in 11% of their games. They had a 1 in 10 chance. The world team that was the world finalist had a 1 in 10 chance in being ahead at 15 minutes. Like that was absolutely insane. So at least that we're seeing a little bit more aggression from SofM. At least we're seeing him play a little bit more towards the lanes and kind of not just opting in towards this heavy, hey, I'm going to farm and be damned as to what happens towards these lanes.
Well, speaking of SofM, he's going to be our MVP coming out of game number 2. Definitely leading the charge across the course of this series in general, 3-0 and 9 at the end of the day. And just a commendable performance coming out from SofM. As, you know, we're spoiled here in the LPL. We expect this kind of performance coming out from this guy.
Definitely. He's been so strong over the course of summer 2020 leading into Worlds, and we started to see him teeter off a bit though, but looking back on form here today, and it kind of makes things a little bit easier when you're able to get some of these early kills going in your favor, and then as well getting this Ocean Soul too. But it can't be just given across to that we talked about his clever pathing in these early stages. to get that double kill, in that bottom side of the map as well. So overall, I was impressed with SofM, and the double MVP performance from today certainly started with him in these early games.
Yeah, and I mean, in these team fights as well, I just want to shout out Bin, because it wasn't just SofM. Bin was destroying people in these fights. Look at him just running down Kramer time and time again. It felt like Kramer, there was very little he could do to stop the pirate just annihilating him over and over again. So really, really nice team play coming out from Suning. Really nice clean wins. And I'm not going to lie, Dagda, I've not got that much more to say about this series, because this was very one-sided. This is the part of the job that they don't tell you about when they're advertising jobs for casters, is that sometimes you're going to have to waffle about a series where there's really not a lot to talk about for a solid 10 minutes after the game has ended.
Yeah, and it's kind of the beauty of League of Legends is that at least we've got some things that we can hit on with the teams, but I think certainly like we can talk about this series. I'm more interested in their next couple of series, because I think against EDG, IG, and JDG, they're going to be a different beast.
Yes, that is for sure. We've got plenty more to talk about later on in the day. First, though, I'm going to pass it over to Wendy, who has a lot to talk about with